Hey everybody, welcome to our first training of the Genius. This is our weekly support call, and along with the Quantum, boy, I better get used to this. Along with the Genius Insights, we are doing a weekly Q&A. It's not a replacement for basic training. That is going to be supplied through other programs that will be incorporated into the Genius. Those will be available. Separately, actually. So we're working on an actual formal training program that'll explain all of the different screens and so forth. However, let me just turn this off again for now. Let me explain. Oh, good. All right, we got Ginger here. Yay, Ginger. Okay, phew. All right. So you still access your client records here. Okay. And Ginger, if you can, go ahead and send me, if you can take your picture right now, then send it to me at Ariel at Awaken, at awakentotalhealth.com. Okay, there we go. Ariel at awakentotalhealth.com. If you want to send me your picture, that'd be awesome. I can pull it up right here on my email. Let me know if you did send it. Okay, shoot me a message that, yeah, I sent it, so I know to look for it. When you go into the Genius, the first thing you'll notice it says assess your client records. Well, you can actually go back to all of your past sessions now. So that's really, really exciting. So in the future, let me just, I'm going to keep changing around. If you don't see anything for a second, it's just because I got to move some things around here. So let me just keep talking. So let me do this. All right, now I can show everything. Okay, so you go into the Genius, you open the Genius. Congratulations for those of you who've gone for it and you've gotten the program. It is a very reasonable upgrade. You don't need to use one or the other. You can use both. I use both. So the Genius, when you go in here, everything is saved to the cloud. So when you go to assess your client records and you go in here, okay, you see got different clients here. Let me just turn this off again. All right. This is our training for the first class for the Genius, and I want to welcome everybody. And I want to go right into the program, and I want to talk about it with you. When you go right into your Genius program, and everybody here can ask questions, so we'd love to receive your questions. I'm going to answer the ones that we already have. The first thing you will see is first name, last name, date of birth. It also says access your client records. I want to point something out that's really important here, that's a really exciting piece of the Genius Insights, which is when you tap right there at the upper right, this is my dog down here, and this is just a fictitious client that we're using for a demonstration, so we're not giving anybody's information away. But you can actually go to the past result, and it will pull up the results for the past sessions that you've done. So obviously I was doing some testing here, and it will show you everything that came up in past sessions. So that is really exciting because you can go back and do some comparisons. Now here's the thing. Yes, you want to be backed up. You want to be connected to the internet, but you don't have to be connected to the internet all the time. If you want to download a new version, or if you want to make sure that everything is backed up, then you'll want to be connected. However, I believe after you're done, it sort of goes back after a session, after you connect with the internet, and then it goes back and saves it to the cloud. But if you want something saved for good measure, I would be connected to the internet while you're doing the session, just to make sure everything gets saved. Okay, so I know we have a bunch of questions. So my system has been shutting down the middle of the session 3 or 4 times now. Does it have to do with anything with not running it in airplane mode? If you run it in airplane mode, I don't think it saves a client record. We have to check on some of these things. I would definitely be connected. I would be connected to the internet if you want to save it. That's my first comment. If your system is shutting down, you need to let tech support know. No, you guys all know that that's Ryan. So you need to let him know. Are you running it, Dolores, on an iPad Pro? And if so, make sure you tell our tech support, what device you're running it on. It seems like the iPad Pro has been the one with some glitches, so please let him know right away. And everybody else, iPad Air 1, iPad Air 2, Mini, iPhone, those all seem to be running without problems right now. The thing to remember is you always have to be updated to your latest iOS version. So, okay, thank you, Ginger. You are awesome. So let's look at Ginger, and we'll have some fun things to tell you, Ginger. I think it's really going to be, we're going to put Ginger's first name, last name. Why isn't that automatically capitalized? That's interesting. All right, so, and date of birth, and we'll get that in there. Okay, so this is very familiar to a lot of you. Understand this process very, very well already. All right, there we go. And good. Now we hit next. And let me see if we can get Ginger on here, if we have her voice. Ginger, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, how the heck are you?
Oh, I'm good.
Well, hey, it's so good to have you on today.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Yeah, we've sure missed you in the classes, but I know that you've been busy doing an awful lot. You sure do keep busy with your education, which is fantastic. So a warm welcome to you. What are we working on today? What should we put here? The wellness markers are like the identifying characteristics.
Um, Digestive and thyroid.
Okay, those are like sort of like oldies but goodies.
Yeah,
But
and allergies this year. More allergies.
okay, and we can actually put that over here. So some of the things, of course, I did this on the example the other day, but you can always just be aware of what you can check off here, and we could put digestive imbalances. So basically, Ryan was trying to do some quick things that you could check, and obviously you can put things up in the identifying characteristics or wellness markers as well. Now down here we hit begin, and we were successful here, which is great. Okay, now we see this. When you're ready, repeat the vowels A, E, I, O, U slowly. When complete, say your name and what issues you'd like to focus on for the session. You may repeat this process as many times as you like. So, Ginger, are you okay if I start recording you and you'll say A, E, I, O, U? You'll say your full
Yep.
name. Oh, go ahead. You ready?
A E.
Oh, no, no, yeah, yeah. Let me count you down because there's always confusion. Okay, I'll start recording in 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
A-E-I-O-U. My name is Ginger Wilk, and I no longer want to exercise, and I want to get past that, along with all these digestive things. A-E-I-O-U.
That is excellent. So you'll notice that the voice recording is longer. The next thing that you do, very good job, Ginger. The next thing that you'll do here, and I'll keep you unmuted for just a couple more minutes, is hit the next button. So I'm going to tap the next button. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to do scan. It does it automatically. So I'm going to hit the next button here. Now, the interesting thing that we talked about in some of the earlier calls was this new algorithm here. And what it's doing is it's listening to the frequency, and then it listens again, and then it listens again, and then it listens again. And so it gets several times to sort of put it through the paces to really get the right frequency assessed for that voice. And so you're going to very likely see some results that are, strikingly spot on. And so this is a really nice advance that, again, Ryan has been working on. So the voice algorithms are complete. So Ginger, have you been playing around with this?
I have. I like it.
What are some of the things that you find that you think are kind of cool?
I watched the short program that you had done. I found it last night because I had just been going from screen to screen, not quite sure what to do when, so just fumbling my way through it. But I really liked your concept of doing a balancing session in 9 minutes. And so I followed your instructions this morning and boop, boop, I was able to get things hitched up and going. And I, I like that because when there are too many choices for me sometimes, it takes me a very long time before I have things in the Balance RX tray or the other one in order to get going. And this is nice because it just kind of does it for you.
Fantastic. I love that. And that really is the point. That actually was what Ryan was really aiming for, was shorter sessions, but there's so much more, especially with the rich frequency that you're getting. We'll talk about some of the cool frequency stuff that really could balance yourself in 9 minutes because we don't have a lot longer than that to do. We're busy people these days. So, Ginger, I'm just going to grab your photo here. So I'm going to use actually, now this is a little confusing, and I may mention it to Ryan, is that something that's interesting. It says take or upload a photo. And do you guys agree that it sort of draws you right here, that you want to tap right here? And so you actually tap on photo. So I've tapped on the bottom part like at least 10 times, having to remind myself that no, it's right above. So we're going to take a new photo, and I'm simply going to take a photo of a photo. Look at that adorable Ginger. Okay. So, and then we use the photo. This is very similar and says, thank you. We've uploaded and analyzed your image. So it does say it's already analyzed, but we do have to push this button to do the begin analysis. So now, of course, it's taking into account everything in that person's etheric field, which is expressed through the picture. Is it okay to take a picture of a picture? Yes, it is. Absolutely. That's a great and convenient way to work with people long distance, and to work with people by Skype and phone, etc. So we've got continue. Even if you had to take it off of Facebook, you could do it. All right. So energetic signature. Ginger, is there a word that comes to mind or an affirmation that you would like to incorporate in here?
Yes, perfect health.
Ooh, I love that one. That's a really good
I
one.
borrowed it from you.
I'm sure you also thought of that. Okay, perfect health. That's great. So now I'm going to do begin analysis. And I've got the sound turned down, but it's a very pleasant sound. I really even like the sound of the tone that it makes when it's scanning. And Ginger, I'm going to keep you unmuted here, so feel free to just jump in with any comments or questions or anything that you want to mention. Now, what I really am finding that I personally like to do right from the beginning is the matrix overview, which is accessed. Actually, you go up to system overview, but it takes you to a screen which is called general overview. So to me, that's like the big kahuna here. I love to go in top of the heap. I'm just going to go system overview, tap on, it's going to take me to that general overview. We're now going to scan every darn frequency in the entire database. So let's have at it. Okay, so it takes seconds to scan, which I love. Again, time has speeded up. We need to quick. We need to get on to other things. So now it does say testes up here, obviously with a female client, but there are lots of different ways that can be interpreted. One of the number one ways is that if a woman is postmenopausal, it probably means that she's low in testosterone. So please don't take this to mean that we're confused, that we don't know what is going on. But this could be related to bone density. This could be related to energy. It could be related to libido. So we have kidneys at the top, and we have small intestine at the top. Now, the small intestine kind of jives with what you were saying about your digestive system. Does kidneys make any sense at all? It's 777, which is the highest number that we can go.
Yes, my kidneys are generally under stress, and if I eat the wrong foods, they let me know because the next morning my vision will be all blurry.
Mm, mm,
And
okay.
I ate something with buckwheat in it yesterday, and then
Okay.
this morning it was all fuzzy.
So yeah, it didn't agree with you.
No.
Oh, when you were taking classes, did we talk about the autoimmune paleo plan?
Um, I don't remember.
Yeah, you might want to look for the Autoimmune Paleo Cookbook by Mickey Trescott. I think that could be really good for you just because if you're that reactive to food, it has sort of like the least reactive foods, the ones that, won't have a lot of mycotoxin, won't have a lot of not leptin, but lectin in there. So, I don't know, you could check it out, but I'm just going to mention these things because it's sort of my nature to do so. So, psychic attack, I always take that as, hey, just surround yourself with light. There could be some negative forces around, or if you've been a little bit depressed or off, then that might be why this is showing up. We don't have to go really into the, craziness of sort of trying to analyze it. It just means like start, clearing your energy field, do some smudging, um, and you're going to start to feel better, and some positive intentions, and maybe put on some chanting music or positive spiritual music. All of those things could be really helpful. Okay, body somatics, reproductive system, radio waves. Look at ginger for ginger. That's pretty hilarious. Isoleucine, shyness, rhodiola, bladder comes up again. Lots of meridian stuff. So this lets you know that meridians are a really good place to balance. Now, you guys, I'm gonna let you know that what I start to do is I start to just pull everything down into the multi-layer tray, which of course now is called the main hold tray. So I was just about to tell you that this drag and drop feature has improved really great since the beta test, and then I almost had to take it back. But the drag and drop is better. I'm experiencing it right now, much better, much easier to drag and drop. And so we just get those. I'm very generous about how many things I get in here. And I'm usually just like thinking to myself, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Rhodiola is really good for depression. Because it's got that added boost, along with rhodiola is really for energy. It's for adrenals, but it's really good for women. It's really good for improving mood. So that's why I say it's for depression. And we know that a juicy place for us to work is going to be in the meridians, because you can see all of these meridians coming up. Now, when we see food sensitivities, penicillin, I also tend to think of, although that's not chemical sensitivities, but I also do think of antimicrobial hand soap. So do you ever use antimicrobial hand soap, or you probably don't?
No.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't be caught dead, 6 feet within a antimicrobial soap. Okay, essential oils, helichrysum. We were just doing that in the assemblage point class. We were talking about the spiritual protection power of helichrysum, which could be why it's coming up. We've got more bladder stuff, more digestive stuff, governing meridian. Now you guys see that I'm not doing the 9-minute right now, but I just want to show you some things because you can put many, many things in here, and I want to show you why. Then Ryan is going to be adding a switch button, which is going to switch right down to the bottom numbers.
Oh, that'll be good because I have my program in my iPod.
Uh-huh.
And so I scroll and scroll and scroll before I get way down to the bottom there.
Yeah, that was the first thing I asked him. Please add a switch button. So we pop open. I like to sort of see what's in the whole tray, but you don't have to. And then we can pull down. Lime is a 3. Are there other ones? Okay. Now, a couple of people mentioned to me that they've seen a lot of zeros coming up. So if you guys see a lot of zeros coming up in your numbers, then come back and shoot me that feedback. I haven't heard. Oh, I'll just mute you for a second, Ginger. I'll come back to you. And I haven't necessarily seen that myself, but if you guys are seeing that, then let me know. And don't worry, you guys, I will get to your questions. So we've got bilberry, we've got happiness. This means you're really working on cultivating happiness. White chestnut, birch essential oils, some emotional worry, spleen, patchouli, the hippies' favorite patchouli. All right. The reason I'm doing a lot of these and being very generous is because I want to tell you about progressive insights. So let's just see if there's any other questions here. Okay, Dolores says, yes, I've seen lots of zeros, and she's on an iPad Air 2. Can you go over the entangled insight parameters? I've seen as low as 7 and as high as 100%. Definitely we'll go over entangled insights. Can you show how to get the info into the tray in the aura scan? That is so funny. Dolores, while you're sitting there, will you please write a message to Ryan and give him that same question? Because yesterday, as I was doing my testing, going over all of the different features, I said, Ryan, why is it when you go into the aura screen, there's nothing in there. It doesn't carry in there. And so he said, what are you talking about? And so I was like, I'm really glad that you brought that up. So send him a message. Yeah, it seems to not carry the frequencies into the main hold tray in the aura screen. You can go back, it'll be back in your main hold tray, but when you're in the aura screen, for some reason, it doesn't carry them through. So that sounds like a bug to me. So Dolores, do me a favor, just get that information, shoot a message to Ryan. I know he'll be responsive to it. He always is. And I want to say something to that extent, is that everything Ryan has put in here is a huge development in the field of portable biofeedback apps. But there's so much more that he has planned. So this is really exciting. He's going to be having so many more upgrades, so many more interesting innovations. And so we've only begun here. And there's really, really good stuff coming down the pike. So I love to grab these food sensitivities like egg. This is a good one to balance and just clear out of the system. So the reason I'm so generous, I've got 33 items already down there in the main hold tray, is because when I go to balance them, and this is balancing for 15 minutes, and we could go back to that 3 minutes at a time. So let's just balance for 3 minutes, and that's going to be a lot. And I'm going to switch some things up, and I'm going to show you some things in the frequency section. So right here, I tap on this. Now, usually this would be the play button. Now, it is going to take you to another screen, which is going to allow it to play. But so let's tap on this button. I'm going to tap right there where the cursor is. This takes us to progressive insights. So let me do the scan. See if why is that not playing anything? That's interesting. It should be, because it's connected to the reflector. Okay, that's why. All right, so what it's done is it's actually put up here that small intestine 1 is the most important meridian point. Radio waves. So some EMF stuff, your wireless, Ginger, is affecting you. That's one of the most powerful ones. And when I say that, radio waves, radio frequency. Birch is an excellent remedy for you. I believe that's a flower essence. Patchouli, the essential oil, the bladder point, and a stomach point. So very, very interesting. So when I hit play here, and again, I think it's just not playing because of the reflector being connected here. What's happening here is that the frequencies, let's go all the way down here and look at these. Let's just stop it for a second. The frequencies that are up at the top are the frequencies that are going to run for the longest period of time. So in proportion, the cycle of frequencies, when you play the frequencies, is going to run more up at the top. Now, these ones that scored really low down at the bottom, worry, it's kind of reassessing it like, well, Ginger's worry really isn't that big. Maybe some superficial thing she was thinking about for her day, but it's not like a really deep, deep issue, and it's certainly not something that's in priority. So as we're balancing, the things that are at the top of the heap are going to get more preferential time as we cycle through the whole list of frequencies, which I think is super cool because it makes your time much more efficient. In fact, you don't have to really fish a lot of things out of your multi-layer tray because basically the program is doing it for you in terms of sort of diminishing the effect or the need for those lower priority frequencies. So it takes a lot of the guessing out of it, which is really, really cool. Ginger says, I've seen a lot of zeros on my iPad. So remember to use that RW at quantumhealthapps.com and bring to Ryan's mailbox a lot of really good information there. Let me just write that down. That's his new email, rw at quantumhealthapps.com. He'd love to hear from you, and he wants to know your feedback so he can make the program a better and better. Okay, so lots of zeros. You guys have seen that. I also am not sure if the zeros coming up is more of the fact that you're just getting everything in the screens together, so you usually don't test all of the screens, so you don't see all those zeros down at the bottom. But especially if you're seeing zeros in other parts of the program too, then that's super, super significant. So you guys definitely shoot me your questions. Patricia, I'd love to hear from you. I think that it's awesome that Rita is here. Welcome, Rita, and Joanne joining us from Trinidad and Tobago. It's so good to have you as well. So Joanne, all of you guys, do not hesitate to send me questions or comments. I'd be happy to answer them. Okay, so I'm going to stop the balancing because I want to talk about a few other things. Now we've got the same harmony, alignment, energy flow. We've rectified this about 25%. We are looking to rectify it about 85, 86% total, but we should be very satisfied even with a 9-minute session if we don't get that far, because there's a lot happening with the frequencies. Let's go back out here and let's go back to our main screens. We've got mind, biofield, and body. In body, we've got a whole bunch of frequencies. Let's do a quick analysis to see. And we've got a whole bunch of subcategories. Now, I love a lot of these categories, and I'm glad that we have so many more things to test in, within the Genius. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit okay, if you guys don't like the animations, all you have to do is just hit this button right here. So for Ginger, what's interesting is that the current infections are coming up at the top. So you could go in and now you could check all of these to see which infection is coming up. Electrical sensitivities, and remember we saw the radio waves before. Now it may not come up because we've already balanced the radio waves. Remember, they were right at the top when we started balancing. So in fact, they're not coming up at the top anymore. Oh, they are. They are. Actually, they're right. They are. They are right at 771. So I take that back. I saw metallic implants, but no, they're right at the top of the heap. So I think that's probably due to, even though it says Wi-Fi there too, I interpret radio waves as radio frequency. Now, I don't know why it's stopping. That makes me nervous. Okay. And then, of course, I love the speed at which this all balances. So it's very, very quickly. And again, I'm going to stop that animation. Zinc, I can look at things for people so much faster. Zinc and iodine being really, for you, Ginger, being really the most needed minerals. And we just talked about minerals the other day on an infinity session. And so those are really commonly deficient minerals. We've got somatics, glands, herbs, chemical sensitivity, organs, digestion, today's stress hormones. Let's see if there's anything that's really low. Trying to think. Amino acids are sometimes a little hard to understand. Let's go with something that's easy. And even though it's not low for her, let's go look at digestion because she said digestion. All right, let's go ahead. Okay, so gallbladder is really, really high. And let's go ahead and let's go into what are called the entangled insights. We've got gallbladder at the top. This used to be the cross analysis. Or I should say it is the cross analysis in the infinity. Now, you see it says gallbladder at the top right here. And we want to compare this to other frequencies. So what I'm going to do is I could actually pull up things that are in the database, but what I really like is where it says show all. Tap here. I'm going to tap it right there. And then we go to all. I go to all, and it is going to scan the entire database. So I don't know how many items are in there, some, well over 1,000 items in the database, and it's going to scan it from top to bottom. It's going to tell us what is most highly correlated with the gallbladder that we need to know about, and then we'll get a percentage of connection. So we got about a 54% connection. Now, you know what's interesting? You might see polyp uterine, and you might think, well, Ariel, there's no connection between the gallbladder and having a polyp in the uterus. But there are a couple of things that are interesting. First of all, if your gallbladder is congested, and your liver and your gallbladder are not cleansing as well as they usually could, then that poor digestion and poor elimination could lead to the buildup of things in the uterus. And so that's why there could be a polyp in the, and it could be very, very small. It could be of no particular consequence. These are benign. Influenza virus. So this could be a virus that is existing in the gallbladder. Scleroderma, I'm not sure how much relevance it has. I always just sort of sift through stuff. 54% is not a super high correlation. Like, we'd probably like to see 75% or better here. So we'll do some more testing here. Then we can go right down all the way to the bottom. Again, this is another place where Ryan really needs a little switch key here. And we've got the flu, we've got bacteria rickettsia, we've got equisetum, white blood cell stimulation. Oh, I like that one. So that one I can now take and I can put it in my main hold tray. In fact, you can take a whole bunch of these, because remember that Progressive Insights is going to reanalyze them and then put them at the top of the heap if they need to go to the top of the heap. So that will be interesting. Let's take the uterine fibroid, and let's take the influenza, and let's take the scleroderma, etc., and so forth. And let's get them in there. And then let's come back, and now we can go back into Progressive Insights by tapping here. I also want to do another Entangled Insights test. So let's go ahead and do that. Woohoo! You guys, isn't this fun? I love this stuff. How do you get the timer bar to move from 15 to 3? I'll show that in a minute. So now what pops to the top of the heap here is rhodiola, urinary bladder 654, spleen, CV24 alfalfa. Interesting. So a lot of things have shifted. Now, some of those things that came up in the cross analysis, they're sort of in the middle. They're not really top priority. See this uterine polyp, that's kind of low. So we'll really just focus on what pops out as a priority. Now I want to go back, and I want to now, let's see if there's something interesting down at the bottom here. Okay, so again, Ginger said digestion. So let's go to stomach. I'm going to tap on stomach. And Ginger, you asked the question, how do you show that this is more minutes here? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop open the tray. And when I pop open the tray, that's when you can change the timer bar. So a little different here. Also, another thing that is so important, that's, you guys know that sometimes it's a bit difficult to get frequencies out of the tray. Well, here it's as simple as just, I don't want that one. You just, you're just going to pop on it with the, by tapping on the X. I don't want that one. I don't want that one. I no longer want the egg in there. I don't want that. And so especially if things came up low priority, you can eliminate them from further testing. So it's way, way easier to get in here and to do that, and to see what is actually in the tray also has a lot better view as well. Okay, now I know I'm talking about all of this. Does that mean the infinity is not needed anymore? Nobody asked this, but I'm just saying because you might be thinking this. No, the infinity is great. The infinity has certain things that the genius does not have. And the genius has certain things that the infinity does not have. I'm talking about the genius now, so just know that that's what the case is. So I'm going to tap on stomach. And again, we go into the Entangled Insights, where we can check a frequency against a different frequency. And so we'll hit tap, and then all, and then I'll hit check. And we're going to see what is the correlative percentage. How much is the stomach related to the information that we're going to be bringing up? So let's see what comes up here. Okay, so the stomach. So now, Ginger, I don't want you to worry, but I am getting a few autoimmune things coming up. Now, you can, by the way, get this if you have sort of an underlying virus. And I do see a lot of viral stuff coming up. So let me know if any of that is sort of ringing some bells for you. But let's go ahead. We've got a 99% correlation. And let's go ahead and pull these down in here. I don't know about methotrexate toxicity. Have you ever taken methotrexate? It's a little bit of an oddball one to see come up. But I like to look at the first 3 and even maybe the first 5 or sometimes even 10. We've got hypertension, pseudoarpetis. I'm sure I should know what that is, and I don't. Bacteria francisella. Remember, medical school has been a little bit of a while. Periodontal, Shigella. All right, so I think that that's enough. And now let's go ahead into, from here, let's go into that progressive insights, and let's see out of all of the new material that we sort of collected, let's see what comes up here. So now at the top of the heap is kidney 14. That small intestine point keeps coming up. Small intestine 11, I think I had said 1 at one point. Maybe it was 1 previously. I also asked Ryan to work on the colors here. And I hope you feel similarly that this is really almost washout. Very, very hard to see at this point. Urinary bladder 54, TH14, reproductive, and spleen 8. Then we don't go down to the bottom here because that's actually low priority. But again, testes. Have you ever thought, Ginger, that you might need some testosterone support? That's really, really interesting that that comes up again. And it comes up in high priority. So now let's say one thing that's really cool that you can do is if you want to play these frequencies, say you don't want these ones that are low. Let's not even waste our time on these. So let's uncheck them. And it's interesting that rhodiola is now low, whereas before it was high. So we got enough of that energy before already. And so the sadness doesn't matter. So what we can do is we uncheck them. Then when we play this, it'll cycle through the ones that are priority, the ones that are high, but it'll preferentially just leave out the ones that are low. So we don't even spend any time. We don't waste any time running those low frequencies. Wow. Really, really cool stuff. That makes perfect sense, Ginger says, about the polyp because my middle feels full and I've done a gallbladder flush. I have considered that there might be polyps. And I think we think about them as fibroids, but same thing. I don't think you have all of your stuff. I don't think all of your stuff got in there. One entangled insights. I tend to drag them down too far and actually miss the tray. Wow. We'll go back and take a look at that. That is a very good question. I mean, that's a very good comment. So let's go back to that tray and let's peek in there. And, ooh, Dolores, you totally are spot on. What is going on here? Okay, there's more up here. So we know we put those in before. Put those in. And then we did the lupus, the condylomata. That is interesting. So let's actually look at this. Let's start down with these bottom frequencies. Let me drag it and drop it. Yeah, you do want to actually look for that thing that says it's been successful. Do you see that down at the bottom? See, it was successful. That is weird because I could swear it had said that we were successful before. I wonder if it got dropped from the box. I wonder if it dropped it from the box when we unchecked it. Is that what you guys are thinking of? All right, let's do some experimenting here. Yeah, I didn't see the periodontal disease in there. That's weird. Okay. So we've got 40 items. Let's go back to Progressive Insights. Good call, Dolores. Thank goodness you're on this call. Spleen, kidney 14, radio waves. Radio waves. Man, do you live near a radio station? Ginger, what's going on there? Sweet chestnut, spleen 8, so the spleen meridian. Bilberry, white cell stimulation. Now, white blood cell stimulation is high, means your immune system needs some support. That's interesting. And we could actually just uncheck everything else if we wanted to. There might be a lot of frequencies to do, but if we wanted to, we can uncheck all of those. So let's see if some of those frequencies from before are in here. I see that francisella. I see the condylomata. I see so now I do see them in there, although isn't there one that I had mentioned that looks like it's not in there? Now let me uncheck. I wonder if this deletes them from the tray. Nope, still says there's 40 items in there. Does it look like there's still 40 items in there? Yes, it does. I wonder if some of these items are not getting into the progressive analysis where we see it. Because let's look at this for a second. Let's do this one more time. See periodontal disease? Let's see if we can find our periodontal disease. Hopefully nobody has that. All right, and welcome everybody who came in a bit past the hour. Very, very good to have you on this very first training. So again, it's putting some more things. It's peeling the onion here. And all right, there we go. There's periodontal disease. We're hoping to be free of it, but okay, sorry about that. All right. So now I want to talk about the frequencies. Oh my gosh, this stuff is so fun. I want to talk to you about the frequencies. So Dolores, I'm not sure what your question was about the 7% and the other percent. Can you go over the entangled insight parameters? I've seen some as low as 7. So that means a very low correlation. And 100% means you sort of can, bet your bottom dollar on it. And we're looking for 75% or so or above to really feel strongly about it. But it's all a matter of gradation. So if it's 54%, it's like possible that it exists. I would say I would really feel good about things that are 75% and above. And those are the things to spend your time balancing. All right. I have thought about the testosterone, about standing up for myself, the energy of that. That's really good. That's good. Okay, I don't live near radio waves, but I think I know what it might be. Well, gosh, tell us what you think it might be. Would love to know. I tend to drag it all the way down to the little green checkbox, and I miss the hold tray, which is a little higher. Let's take a look at that. Well, that's in the entangled analysis. Okay, we'll do another one then in just a second. So let's pick another screen, another fun screen to do. Let's see what would be really fun to look at. Let's scan the mind. And of course, I love to look at neurotransmitters. So let's look at that neurotransmitter list. And actually, a lot of them are pretty balanced. You're pretty balanced there, Ginger. That's good. So, gosh, we don't even have anything to look at because she's so balanced here. That's really great. That's great to know. Now, again, what it's doing is it is bringing the top 3 that came up so that you can sort of have a summary for yourself. Within the mind, neurotransmitters was the biggest thing that came up. Within well, no, that's not the biggest thing that came up. Wait, was it? No, it's the thing that we tested. Okay, so neurotransmitters we tested, but of the neurotransmitters, the ones that were deemed to be the most important were dopamine. Yes, I think that's right. And then what about brain anatomy? Why is brain anatomy coming up? No. All right. I'm going to get it right. This is like your accumulating summary screen. So when we scan the mind, we scan neurotransmitters. The one that was the most significant in neurotransmitters was dopamine. But also when we scanned the mind, it told us that neurotransmitters was the most significant, and it told us that brain anatomy was also significant. So we could go back into the mind. So it's picking the highest and the lowest now, which, kudos to Ryan, that's picking up on those, the highest and the lowest. That's really good. Okay, so brain anatomy. And something that could be fun could be to compare, let's go to the cortex, which is part of the brain. And let's go to all and see if anything interesting, because we want to answer Dolores's question, comes up just from the cortex. I don't know what will come up. Let's see, it might be interesting. On other systems, we would balance when it was like 900, and if it was below, 9,000, 9,000 or below 1,000. I'm sure that's what you meant. Oh yeah, next comment, there it is. Okay, if it's a common thing. Oh, I see what you're saying. But you know what? That's a really good comment. Again, boy, I'm going to have to pay you for being on the training today, Dolores. You've been so awesome. What Ryan did is you don't have to go low high anymore. It's going to be just on the percentage. So he switched the system so it just was easier to understand and interpret. So a low percentage is not a lot of correlation. A high percentage is going to be a lot of correlation. By the way, if you're signed up, you're going to get the recordings. So as per usual, you'll get the recordings. And so if you need to miss one, you'll get the recordings. Okay. This is interesting. It says a parasite. Nobody likes to hear that there's a parasite in their brain, but look at that. There's only a 49%, so perfect. I don't think there's a lot of correlation here. I'm not even going to look at it. So let's actually go back. I want to work on some other things. So now it's giving you the results of what it's scanned. Like it scanned, is that right? Let's go to this. Oh yeah, cortex and brain anatomy. Cortex and brainstem came out of brain anatomy, and so it brings those two priorities back into here. So you can sort of see a summary of what you've done, and if you want to, you can just grab those frequencies and either put them down in the main hold tray, or at any time you could put them up in the quick zap. So let's then go back into body. And whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Something else that could be fun to run would be, how about today's stress? All right, and we hit that animation at the top right, so we can just turn that off. So we've got connective tissue, conception vessel, hormonal. Let's do hormonal. That's a fun one to cross-analyze or entangle our insights. So let's hit the check button. Nope, not the check button. Oh boy. Let's hit the show all. And there we go. All right. So it sure is fun to use a new program, and one of as fun as this with so many really kind of interesting little innovations. So again, 45%. I'm not even going to look at this. I'm not even going to really use it so much. I mean, one thing you could do is you could just look and see if some of these things make sense. But I'd rather find something where there's a nice juicy correlation. So let's see if we can get it in connective tissue. We did have 99% before. So what that means is that maybe what you're trying to cross-analyze for root cause or relationships just simply is not in the database. Ginger says, I'm glad Ryan's cortex keeps ticking away. Absolutely. I love it. It was a great comment. All right. So 90% correlation between connective tissue and an underlying infection. These are really, really common, and it may not be this particular infection, but we want to use the resonance of it anyway. Wild oat and connective tissue. So connective tissue is really everywhere in the body. Everywhere you have fascia, everywhere you have some type of ligament, those are all connective tissues. Connective tissue throughout the body. And then you can go down to the bottom and see, I would look at a whole bunch of these, really, going all the way from the bottom up. Emotions, horror, bacterial infection, lipid metabolism. So lipid metabolism is all about that gallbladder liver. So one thing that's coming through from this for Ginger is that liver gallbladder is super, super important to keep working on. In fact, she's working on it. She did that gallbladder flush. Ankylosing spondylitis, curiosity. So again, autoimmune. I don't know if that's ever been an issue, if you've thought about it, but that sort of comes through in different ways. It doesn't mean it is an issue. There's just maybe just need to balance the immune system. And here's that Epstein-Barr virus. In fact, we may want to go back and sort of cross-analyze that in particular, which is another really good way to look at this. You could do all of these together, and then you could sort of, let's try to do that laser focus by going back to connective tissue, and then, there it is. Let's do the cross-analysis on just that and see what it says. I've had shingles this year, says Ginger, and connective tissue makes sense as well. The right eyebrow is still feeling a little wiggly. What is quick zap? Good question. So 72% correlation between the Epstein-Barr virus and what's going on in the connective tissue. So it may be some other virus, but Epstein-Barr virus, boy, that's really, really common, you guys. So let's take this and let's actually put it up in the quick zap. And I'm going to tell you what it is. So let's put it up there. And let's also put it down, because we could always eliminate it from our multi-hold tray, from our main hold tray. Boy, by the 4th or 5th lesson that I'm doing here, I will have all of the new terms down. I won't even think of the old terms anymore. Okay, for our training here anyway. So now, when we look at this, what is quick zap? This is like, it's like your balance RX. So what you do here is you choose how many minutes. Really, you literally only need sort of 1 to 3 minutes. And once again, we can go up whenever I or anybody says to you, go to your navigation. As you guys know from apps, the navigation is sort of up here at the top right. It's these 3 lines up here. So we go to the navigation, and this is what I wanted to tell you about over in here, which is the where the frequencies are under frequency, shape, and form. And when we go in here for this particular thing for Ginger, because this virus and infection thing keeps coming up for her, what I'd like to do with your permission, Ginger, may I put this on 50x intensity? I'm going to just do it, and I'll undo it if I don't have your permission, because I want to really zap this. I want to really focus on this one frequency of the virus and see if we can make some headway here. I love using the harmonic frequency. That's going to be a much more rich frequency with a lot of the different mathematical harmonics in there. And then alternating is going to alternate through sine, square, and sawtooth. So you're going to get the benefit of all of them. It's going to create more adaptation. You're not going to get used to any of the frequencies. And I love the energy encoded process, which also is working the frequencies in at a much deeper level. That's sort of the richness and the beauty that you hear in that new sound, that sound that is so much more palatable than we've heard in the past from the tones. So the energy entrainment, this is going to be binaural beat technology. So you can turn it up as high as you want, but it'll play over the tones. And it's also really, really nice for integrating, for getting to the subconscious, for helping you to assimilate the information faster. I cannot figure out why the audio isn't working. The only thing I can figure is that it's the reflector. So as soon as I have that figured out, I do want you to be able to hear these frequencies because they're really, really cool. So, so we have that. I think I wanted to do this because it's up in the quick zap, right? And so we'll play this. Oh, darn. I don't know why that isn't playing. I'll figure it out later. All right. So then really, we can even stop this for a second because even 1 minute would be powerful here. So why is it not stopping? All right, let's talk about for some reason that's not stopping. And has anybody else had that happen to them? Let me know if anybody else has had that happen to them. And I don't know why I just went back. That's interesting. So good to know. Okay, so we were here. All right, and we had this in the quick zap, right? Okay, so let's try that again. All right, so do you have a list of the entangled insights? Let me check on that. All right, and Ginger, I'm glad you gave me your permission because I ran it, so I do apologize, but I'm glad you gave me permission. Is there the MEP? Yes, we'll talk about where those are. For that one, I think you have to touch the start arrow for it to stop. Oh God, yeah, Ginger. You know, we're going to have 2 new programs. We're going to have like a certified trainer and a certified sales associate. And we're going to have those programs coming through soon. But Dolores, you're hired as a certified trainer. Thank you so much, because additionally, this actually says press to stop. So this is also a bug here. It's not working. So we need to get that information. Can you shoot that to Ryan too, Dolores? Because I can't take all of these down while I'm doing the webinar. Okay, so now I'm going to hit the stop button by the arrow up there. But that would be really, really great. And I think, Ginger, for you to continue to run the Epstein-Barr for yourself, let's take it out of there for a second, go back. I didn't want to go completely out, but I wanted to actually, I'm just curious, we only did it for like a millisecond, but I'm just curious if we check this again, what happens? And I think we put it down into the multi-hold tray. Or the main hold tray. Let's go ahead and test it now and see what the progressive insights tells us about the priority. All right, so now, oh, this is really, really awesome. Okay, we did that for 50x intensity for a minute, and look at the correlation now, Ginger, 27%, whereas we know it was so high before. And then, it could still be high priority. It's okay. But just out of curiosity, let's then go and compare it to all the other things in here. Where does it stack up in terms of priority? So it's not right at the top. Boy, that testes stuff still comes up, though. I think you should get a salivary hormone panel and check that testosterone. So where is it? There it is. So it's somewhere in the middle. So that sort of matches what we discovered here with the 27% correlation. So I think you're going to find with these frequencies that you're balancing much, much faster, and you're going to find that that it has a very deep effect in a very short time. Now, to go back to Patricia's question, let's go to the navigation up here. There's a lot of really interesting bells and whistles on here, which we will get to in future training. So the one that you're looking for, Patricia, is the extra modules. So you go into extra modules here. To activate the MEP, ensure you have dragged items into both first. So we know that they are in there. So let's see if does it come back. Okay, now I don't know. I'm actually not sure where it goes, because I looked at this before and we talked about it in our, sort of in our trainers training, and we certainly talked about it with Ryan, but then what do you do from there? Maybe Dolores can tell me. So we've got it here, right? And then it tells you make sure that, okay, so we actually don't have things in the balance in the quick zap right now because I took it out. So that's what it is. So let me just shoot some things up there. The cortex, the brain cortex, the neurotransmitters. It doesn't really matter what at this point. Let's just shoot some things up there. Now let's go back. There's only one thing in there. Why is that? Okay. Let's get some radio waves. Okay, so those things are landing in there. Let's get some connective tissue. Okay, now let's go back. Navigation, extra modules, MEP. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, enter holistic support. What emotion to focus on? Let's just focus on the emotion of love. And Ginger, sorry, I'm running out of time, or I would have asked you for input. And then I would work in 1 minute increments with the Genius, 1 minute increments up to 3 minutes. So you're not going to work in any balancing that you're doing longer than 3 minutes, because I think that's all you really need for any little part of the, the onion that you're peeling. For any layer of the onion that you're peeling, give it between 1 and 3 minutes. And so that's why that 9-minute session, 3 threes, is perfect. Okay, so let's take any of your last burning questions, and then the rest is to be continued. So, come back every week for more information, and we'll be discussing it amongst ourselves. And we're going to see this improve tremendously. We're going to see a number of different upgrades over time. I think you're going to love it. I think you're going to use it often. People are really intrigued by it. It's super, super fun to use. Love the graphics, love the colors. Is there a testosterone frequency? Well, we'll talk next time about how to create your own frequencies, the customized frequencies. And, oh, cool. Harmony, 2%, alignment, 20%, energy flow, 17%. Very interesting. So, that 1 minute isn't applying there, but I still do think that it's very, very powerful the way that it's working. So I wouldn't completely depend on these percentages. These are really, really intense, but very, very subtle frequencies that I think you'll really enjoy. So couple of final comments here is that the thing right up here, we're going to talk more about the extra modules next time. And, oh gosh, golly, why is it doing that? Then we can get into the neuro remedy. That's really cool. That's when we take sound and convert it into frequency. But let me make a couple of final comments, and we'll talk about more next week in training. You guys, if you know other people in the community, Can you let them know about the Genius? I wanted to pull this one up here. Let them know about the Genius. This is the page for people who are already using the Infinity. And it says after rebates, $149, but have them get in touch with me. Whoops, I don't know what happened here. Sorry about that. You have them get in touch with me, and I will help them to get it for obviously the $99 like you got in my email. But we do ask that you tell other people, and that you, if you can, post it on your Facebook page, maybe a screenshot of the Genius with the link to the website, which is quantumhealthapps.com. Eventually, I'll have it on my website too. For now, you can send them to quantumhealthapps.com. Okay, so I'm working on, I sort of have it up on my website, and I do appreciate you also sending people over to call me to help them with the Genius to get a trial going. We can get anybody a 15-day trial right now, at least until the 20th. You guys are going to have if you know other people in the Infinity community who would also like to use the Genius, and we're not saying it's either or, you can use both, then do let them know about this. Because the program itself, yes, it's starting out at $1,100, but eventually it's going to go up to $1,400. So this is just the pre-launch price because of the amount of things that are in here, the new innovations. Okay, so I especially like that I can have it in my purse rather than on the iPad for everything. Very, very cool. Testosterone frequency. Okay. Yeah, we'll create customized categories next time. So you guys, please post this on your social media. Let as many people you know about it. And we'll go from there. We hope to build a really, really big community and continue to come out with new innovations. So I'll be here every week and come back as many times as you want. I hope to see you soon, and we'll send out the recording as well. Last thing before you go, you can get in touch with me, Ariel at awakentotalhealth.com. So if you have issues that are not technical, or if you're not sure, send them to me first, and I might send you on to Ryan, but I'll do my best to help you. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful week, many blessings, and much, much love. Talk to you guys soon. Take care and be well. Bye-bye for now.